Once upon a time, in the vast savannah, there lived a massive elephant named Tembo, known for his strength and wisdom. His towering presence made him the undisputed leader among the animals, feared and respected by all. Tembo had one weakness, though. He was deeply proud of his size and often boasted about being the largest and most powerful creature in the land. One day, as Tembo wandered near a riverbank, he encountered a small turtle named Quito. Quito was wise and witty, but due to his size, most of the larger animals never paid him much attention. Tembo, seeing the tiny turtle basking in the sun, chuckled and said,
"Look how small and slow you are. You could never match my strength or size. I am the strongest creature in this land."
Quito, not one to back down from a challenge, looked up at the elephant and said,
Strength and size are not everything, Tembo. Sometimes cleverness can triumph over might.
Amused by the turtle's boldness, Tembo laughed.
You? Outsmart me? I doubt it. I'll give you a challenge. Prove that you're cleverer than me, and I might just admit that size isn't everything.
Quito smiled, sensing an opportunity.
Very well. I challenge you to a tug of war. If you can pull me into the river, I'll admit you're the strongest. But if I can pull you even an inch toward the river, you'll admit that I am cleverer.
Tembo, thinking it was a ridiculous proposal, agreed without hesitation. This will be too easy, he thought.
The next day, they met at the riverbank. Quito had a long, thick vine ready for the tug of war. He gave one end to Tembo and asked him to wait while he went to the other side of the river to grab his end.
Don't peek, Tembo, Quito said with a sly grin as he waddled away.
What Tembo didn't know was that Quito had secretly tied the other end of the vine to a large, immovable boulder deep beneath the river, hidden from view.
Are you ready? Quito called from the bushes, pretending to be on the other side.
Ready! Tembo trumpeted, bracing himself for an effortless victory.
With all his might, Tembo pulled, but the vine didn't budge an inch. He strained harder, his muscles bulging, but still the vine refused to move.
How can this tiny turtle be so strong? Tembo thought, his pride on the line.
He pulled harder and harder, digging his feet into the earth, but to no avail. Meanwhile, Quito was lounging on a rock, watching Tembo struggle with a smirk. After hours of pulling and tugging, Tembo finally collapsed in exhaustion, gasping for breath. At that moment, Quito emerged from the bushes, calm and collected.
You see, Tembo, he said, I told you that cleverness can triumph over strength. You've been pulling against a boulder this whole time.
Tembo, too tired to argue, had no choice but to laugh at his own folly.
You win, Quito, he said, shaking his head. I underestimated you. Size isn't everything after all.
From that day forward, the story of how a tiny turtle outsmarted the mighty elephant spread throughout the savannah. Animals would gather around to hear the tale, and Tembo, though humbled, proudly told the story himself, reminding everyone that wisdom and cleverness often outweigh brute strength.
And Quito the clever turtle became a legend.
Yes, indeed, Quito's cleverness was talked about by everyone.
The story inspired many across the savannah, young and old alike.